Nonverbals make up the majority of our communication. I'm sure you've heard of that stat where 90% of communication is body language and tonality, where 10% is what we say. That stat varies with research, but every single study has shown that the majority of our communication is our body language and our tonality. What does this mean for you? It means that you need to learn how you should situate yourself and your body and how you should sound when you speak to other people. For example, I learned this from Jordan Belfort's YouTube channel, Sales School. In a sales call, you have 4 seconds. That's it, 4 seconds to be perceived as three things: sharp as a tack, which means you're very astute and clever, enthusiastic as hell, and an expert in your field. And you have 4 seconds to show that. And you can't show that if your body language is all slumped over and sad. No, you must be enthusiastic in your voice and how you position yourself. You must act like an expert to get people to treat you like an expert. And that is why a large we should all try to and that is why we all need to focus on improving our body language and tonality. A good example of this is when you're speaking to someone and you look around the room and you don't pay attention to them, people will notice and they will lose interest in talking to you. The way to avoid this is to be present and focus on them and only them. That is a good way to show you're listening, and by focusing on them, your body language will naturally reorient itself to show that you are listening. Because if you're thinking about something else, or if you want to leave and go somewhere, people tend to tilt their bodies like sideways in order to indicate that they want to leave the conversation. So if you want to leave a conversation, you do the same thing. And if someone does that to you, you end it and you walk away. That is how you use body language to your advantage rather than being unaware of it. Your tonality is a huge part of how you communicate. You can say the same thing in multiple ways, and it can have two whole separate meanings. For example, someone could say all up, and that's like a friendly tone, a, a friendly, inviting tone. However, if they say all up with a disgusted tone, I can tell they don't like me and they want to avoid me, and I will do the same. And I can convey the same thing with my voice. And that is what we should all be able to do. Because a lot of times many guys don't are not good at this because they're not aware they have a problem with it. I didn't realize how monotone my voice sounded until recently when I was learning about communication. And now I know the problem and I'm working to solve it. And while I'm not that good now, by working to solve the problem, I will be able to be a better communicator 1 month from now. So the first step is to be aware of it. If you want to be aware of it, I recommend watching some videos on what to improve, like what you need to do to improve your communication skills. And then you record a 5-minute video of yourself. You don't need to post it. You simply record the video and you watch it of yourself. And you listen to how you sound, how you're moving, all those things. And if there's something that's really boring or annoying, then you know other people find that annoying as well. When I first did this, I realized I tend to interlace my fingers a lot. I tend to shake my wrist a lot, and my voice tends to be very monotone, which is something I am working on. I also need to work on my articulation, how I say words, and I practice every single day through recording these videos and through my own separate practice every day. And that is how I improve so much in a week. And that is why I will improve even more 3 weeks from now. Because I do this every single day for a month straight. Anyway, there are some interesting things I learned about body language that I would like to share. For example, if someone has their hands crossed, that tends to be a self-soothing gesture, which means they feel either uncomfortable or slightly in stress. Another good tip is if someone steps back from you, it means you're too close and you need to maintain that distance. And the next time you talk with them, you maintain that distance as well. If you get way too close, people tend to feel uncomfortable. And that's why you need to make sure you have more space between you and the other person. Fun fact, I learned from Vin Jiang that actually applies in videos as well. You need to make sure you have a good distance from between you and the camera. Because if you're too close to the camera, apparently most people feel uncomfortable with that. There are so many things we need to learn about body language. But the main things you can do are have your posture good, like shoulders back, head straight. Don't look down a lot. Another one I like to do that's a little bit personal. I like to have a small smile on my face. Nothing crazy. Simply like this. Having that small smile on my face not only shows other people that I'm in a good mood, but it makes me feel like I'm in a good mood. And I think that's one of the best parts about having the right body language. When you act a certain way or posture yourself in a certain way, you start to feel like that way. If you are more slouched and scrunched up, you tend to feel more anxious and small. Whereas if you act bigger, you tend to feel more confident. That is because we are telling our bodies we are confident, and it responds by giving us that feeling. That is all for this video.